Yeti purchased Mystery Ranch recently, and they have since come out with a pack named the Ranchero that looks very similar to the Mystery Ranch Catalyst as well as the 2-Day Assault Pack. In this video, I want to show you a side-by-side comparison between the Ranchero and the Catalyst here. I'll show you these bags are very similar with a lot of the same features. However, they're different in a few important ways that I think makes them each better as its own type of carry. Starting by looking at the size, these bags have almost identical dimensions, with the Catalyst here being just slightly smaller in the depth dimension. I've already shown you in the full review of the Ranchero, this thing is pretty much spot on at the listed 27 liters. But now let's have a look at the Catalyst, which is listed at 25.8 liters using a peanut capacity test. That's the Catalyst stuffed completely full there. Also, top pocket, I filled this separately because it has its own volume. I'd say we're pretty much spot on, a little bit above 25, so 25.8 seems fairly accurate. So now that I've shown you these bags are very similar in size, only about a liter larger over here in the Ranchero, let's have a look at the materials and construction, which is one of the major differences between these packs. Starting with the fabric, the Catalyst here uses a mid-weight 500 denier Cordura nylon. This is a great option for an everyday carry pack. It's lightweight yet very durable. Yeti uses what they call a TuffSkin fabric in the Ranchero, and from what I can tell, it's very similar style fabric, but it's just a thicker 700 denier nylon treated with a waterproof coating. And while these fabrics look very similar from the outside, the Yeti is noticeably thicker, it's a little bit stiffer, and it kind of has a smoother waxy finish from the waterproof coating. And you can see there's a major difference in the bottom of these packs. The Ranchero basically just completely flat. This is padded, nice firm coating here. This bag is gonna pretty easily stand up on its own, even when it's empty. Whereas the Catalyst, it does have a flat bottom, a little bit more rounding to it. You can get this bag to stand up on its own, especially if you put something flat in the bottom, but it doesn't stand up as readily as the Ranchero. So now let's have a look at the comparison between the external features on these two bags. You can see the fronts are very similar, especially after I remove the compression straps off of the Ranchero. Also, I think it's worth pointing out that the structure on these bags is slightly different, kind of gives the appearance of the Ranchero a little bit wider, kind of squatter. I think that has more to do with the way they structure this, some of the differences in the paneling on the fabric, and the top pocket here, this kind of has a seam. Well, this is a little bit more rounded. But other than those slight structural differences, the front of these packs are almost identically set up. They have the same Y-style zipper, large one in the middle, two top pockets, both large number 10 YKK AquaGuard zippers, just some slight differences in the pull tabs they used here on the zippers. But there are some actual functional differences here, one being the side pocket, much taller and stretchy on the Ranchero, and shorter and wider on the Catalyst. The pockets on the Yeti bag are much taller, stretchy, so they lay flat when they're not in use. These do a really good job holding these kind of tall, skinny water bottles or other tall, thin items like a tripod, and you really don't have to worry about this coming out. It's really tight in there. However, these pockets aren't as wide, so you can fit if you really jam it in there, but it's really tight. You're gonna have a hard time fitting a 1 liter Nalgene in here. Compare that to the Catalyst. These are more set up like hiking backpack pockets, so they kind of sit a little bit open when you're not using them. They're a little bit shorter, but they're quite a bit wider. These aren't gonna do as good in kind of these tall, skinnier bottles. They kind of flop around, and if you turn it upside down, it's likely to fall out. However, these wider pockets are gonna much easier fit these 1 liter wide Nalgene bottles, and the orientation is gonna make it much easier to get to when you're hiking with this bag. The Ranchero also comes with a set of removable compression straps. They clip in over here on this fabric loop on the back, run all the way around the pack to the other side, clipping in the middle with a buckle. That's these straps attached here, kept in place with these two fabric loops on the side. You can either use these as compression straps, just really do a good job on squishing the bag down. Or if you wanted to, add some extra security to your stuff on the side, keeps it in place and gives you something to clip onto. And the last external feature to show you back here is the laptop compartment, which are almost identical with one major difference. Both of these pockets are top opening. They have very similar thick back padding here, this firm plastic back panel. They have padding on the interior side and good false bottoms on both bags in both compartments. Really the only difference which kind of matters is This little sleeve here is in a different orientation. It's attached to the back on the Ranchero. Well, it's attached to the front here on the Catalyst. The real mystery here is the size that each brand claims the laptop will fit in here. The Ranchero over here claims 13 to 15 inch, which seems normal for a size of this bag. However, the Catalyst claims this can hold up to a 17-inch laptop, much larger laptop for almost an identically sized bag. And I tried testing this out with my Dell 15.5 inch. It's gonna easily fit in just the main compartment as well as the laptop sleeve on the Ranchero without a problem really, but without a lot of extra wiggle room. However, when I try this similar thing with the Catalyst, it's gonna fit in the kind of the main compartment here. But when I try to fit the exact same size laptop in, I can't get it to fit on this interior padded laptop sleeve. Unfortunately, I don't have a 17-inch laptop to test between these bags. I suspect it might fit in this larger main compartment back here, but definitely not in the padded laptop sleeve portion of it. But I do think it's weird that the bag with a smaller laptop sleeve is rated at being able to hold a larger laptop. Now let's have a look at the carry system between these bags. Again, very similar style, a lot of the same features, but there are some key differences. A lot of the same features, they look really similar, same top load adjusters. They both have sternum straps, slightly different style here, both clip-offs, but just different orientation and style on how you clip them onto the shoulder straps. The biggest difference here really is the foam padding that they use in the shoulder straps and the back padding. These are the same width, about the same depth, but the foam is much more dense over here in the Ranchero with a different backing material. It's kind of this thinner, breathable fabric compared to the Catalyst over here, which has a much more traditional breathable mesh fabric. The Ranchero feels sturdier. It's not going to be as breathable, but I suspect it's going to last longer and hold heavier pack loads more comfortably with this denser foam than the Catalyst will. The backing material is also different. It's the same soft, breathable foam on the Catalyst over here, but firm, almost a hard panel on the Ranchero without that breathable backing that they had on the shoulder straps. And without that breathable fabric back here, the Ranchero is more relying on the air ventilation from this Yeti pattern, which isn't a ton, as well as the kind of the air side channels you get from the distance between the foam padding and this back here. Also notably, the Ranchero has a pronounced curve in it, going in and sticking out a little bit here on the bottom. The lumbar support, which I think helps form this bag to your back better, and it's gonna hold heavier weights more comfortably. Well, the Catalyst does have a nice curve to it. It's gonna kind of smooth out a little bit when you're carrying this full with heavy loads, but a lot more breathability here with the mesh fabric. Another bonus feature on the Ranchero, this elastic strap tucked in behind the back padding. Looks like a hip belt, but it's actually a strap. That's gonna help this work well with travel. This clip is gonna pop down, attach over here, hold these straps down, and this is gonna be used as a luggage pass-through sleeve over the handle on a rolling luggage. So now let's have a look at the interior design and organization. Again, both bags have the same Y-shaped zipper style opening into the large main compartment. And to show you what I mean with the structural integrity on this bag, the Yeti, completely empty, all the zippers are open. This bag basically almost completely keeps its shape, which makes it really easy to pack. Compare that to the Catalyst over here, where these front panels kind of flop down. It's still fairly easy to pack, but it's just not gonna stay open for you. And the bottom also doesn't have that same structure, just a piece of fabric down here without that flat bottom. Overall, similar design, a lot of the same features on the inside. They both have this pocket in the back, two pockets on the top and the sides, slightly different style mesh over here in the Catalyst. However, the Ranchero has two extra larger kind of water bottle sleeves down here in the side bottoms. Well, the Catalyst is going to add some more gear, a little tablet sleeve and notebook, some larger sleeves, stretchy things here for pens, pencils, and smaller notebooks, everyday carry gear, which I think keeps with the theme of the Catalyst being a more casual, everyday carry or light hiking pack, while the Ranchero a little bit more sturdy when you need a pack that's a little bit more rugged. So in summary, Yeti now owns Mystery Ranch. They make similar packs under different names. The Catalyst here and the Ranchero have a similar style with a lot of overlapping features. Especially noticeable being the front Y zippers. They have similar capacity and very similar carry systems. However, these bags differ in a few important ways. First, Yeti is a more robust bag. It has a lot more structure. It's made from more durable fabrics. It has that flat bottom, which lets the bag stand up on its own very well and making it very easy to pack. The downside to this design is the weight. It's about 1.2 pounds or half a kilogram heavier. The price is also considerably higher, almost $100 more expensive than the Catalyst. The best use cases for the Ranchero are rugged, abusive carry, off-trail hikes, or if you're more abusive with your bag when you travel, basically anything where having a more durable bag is worth the added weight and price. The Catalyst I consider to be a more casual, generalist, everyday carry or day trip hiking pack. It has a great quality, relatively light, durable, reasonably priced pack that's going to work in most situations for most people. This bag has a much more casual look. It has more small, everyday carry gear organization on the inside. It does still stand up on its own if you pack it right, just not as readily as the Ranchero. And this bag is still easy to pack despite the fact that the top is going to flop down a little bit when empty. The back still has a nice rigid panel that helps the bag keep its shape. So I hope you enjoyed this comparison review video between the Mystery Ranch Catalyst 26 and the Yeti Ranchero 27. Please let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. And again, thanks for watching.